All right, guys, welcome back to BS with Brian Simpson. Shout out to everybody that came out to Detroit. It was good. What was it called? Comedy Castle, Ridley's in Detroit. Shout out to the Detroit comics. Threw me some other little spots that I could just get in and work out a little bit. It was a good scene down there. I fuck with Detroit. Also, shout out to the Stand in New York City, throwing me a couple spots. I went through New York as well. I'm going to be back in New York on October 12th, as well as Boston on October 11th, at the Wilbur and at the Bell House, respectively. Also, September, I want to say I'm going to be at the Lincoln Lodge in Chicago. I won't say in September. Man, my Chicago trips be hit or miss, man. I guess that is the way it go, though. But when I have a ball in Chicago, I have a ball. But when they go bad, man, they go all bad. So I'm just fingers crossed for Chicago. And then I'm also going to be in Madison, Wisconsin at the damn, it slips my mind the name of the fucking spot. It's one of my favorite clubs. Comedy on State. That's what it is. Comedy on State, Madison, Wisconsin. All those tickets should be on my website, BrianSimpsonComedy.com, or click on my link tree, BS Comedian. Also, don't forget, I do Bottom of the Barrel each and every Tuesday here in Austin, Texas, at the Comedy Mothership, each and every Tuesday, 7:30 and 10:30 p.m. So get the tickets for that as well. And if you got any questions, comments, concerns, you want advice from the advice champ, email me at BSwithBrianSimpson@gmail.com. It's the only place I'm going to answer questions. Okay. And obviously, it's, sometimes I see your comments. I do see them. I see most of the comments. I'm pretty sure I've read each and every one of them. I read the comments, but I don't answer questions in the comments very often just because I don't want to have to look all over the place for where the question's at for the pod. I might reply to you on there, but I usually don't. If you have a question that you want me to answer, like advice champ questions or whatever, and also it don't have to be advice. You could just send me something interesting. If you come across an interesting article or some shit, it don't have to be advice. Just But if you want to communicate directly, use the email because that just makes it easier for me because I don't have like assistants and shit. So one of these days, I'm gonna have me a little motherfucking intern or something. All right, first email. Dear Brian, just found this article on Reddit and one of Madonna's 6 children having guitar lessons and scavenging for food in New York City. Whoa. Hold on. Just found an article on Reddit about one of Madonna's 6 children giving guitar lessons. Okay. And scavenging for food in New York City. And it reminded me of something you've talked about on the show. Kids from families of means cosplaying poverty so they have some sort of gritty artistic background to talk about. I can't remember the exact context in which you said it, but I read this article and I hear your voice saying you don't have to struggle. Yeah, I'm 1,000% in agreement with that. And I don't remember the context either, but that's just a general way that I feel about a lot of times about a lot of these rich kids. So, something else that people don't realize too is that just the way that show business is set up is very much skewed towards people of privilege, right? Which is why TV and movies can sometimes feel so monolithic, or out of touch, is because most of it's being made and or approved by people that's out of touch. You know what I mean? Because think about it like this. If you in Flint, Michigan, like you grow up in the depths of poverty. I'm not saying that's the poorest place. I'm just any place like that. If you're from some rural backwater road and you're the most talented person we've ever seen, think about the obstacles for you to make it, so to speak, right? Because first of all, you have to be able to move to LA or New York. right? Which are two of the most expensive cities in the world, right? So that's a financial obstacle. You have to have time and equipment to film auditions and take acting classes and just get around to the improv things and all of those other things. And so I guess my point is just that people that don't have to worry about survival, that's not an obstacle to them. Moving to the most expensive cities in the world and surviving is not something they got to think about. And for most people, that's 90% of their energy goes to survival, right? And by survival, I just mean having a roof over their head and having food in their stomach or drugs to do or whatever, right? And then on top of that, let's just say your dream is an actor. Some people have money for costumes, for the high quality cameras and the acting coach and the fucking studio to film self tapes. And because I don't know if y'all know this, but most auditions are not done in person no more. It's all on self tape. So you have to do it all yourself. You got to film it yourself and all of that, right? So I just mean, and then on top of that, some of these people, because they went to NYU or Harvard or whatever, they help each other get into these places. So you might be interning in the mailroom at one of the big agencies or something, and you get your buddy from your class into there too. And so you end up, and that's how those people end up in those positions. They do bitch work for a long time, then they end up somebody's assistant for a minute, and then they end up doing their own thing for a second. And so you don't have to have any kind of like on our end. I think you have to kind of, if you start out poor, you have to be talented to make it. You know what I mean? If you start out with nothing, your talent has to overcome all those obstacles. And if you start out with everything, you don't even have to be talented because you can be around. If you're just around, because that's 90% of show business is just being around. If you can get there, that's 90% of the battle right there. And if you're beautiful, that's the other thing. If you're unbelievably good looking and you financially don't have to worry about finances, you're almost guaranteed to make it in Hollywood unless you get duped by one of these porn producers or something before somebody else sees your talent or whatever, And so anyway, I feel like it's like this. There's these, most of these executives, most of these people that decide what gets made, they're all rich kids. They're all rich kids, and everything gets filtered through their perspective. You know what I mean? And so it's a whole other thing. I could do a whole episode about this. Anyway, I'm not finished this email. My question for you is, has that actually worked for anyone? Can you think of a celebrity that Trojan horsed themselves into the public eye in this way? Can we classify viewing poverty as a means to gain public acceptance as an artist as another symptom of affluenza and get these sad rich fucks some help? I refuse to believe doing this type of thing is a better path toward artistic success and public validation than actually just benefiting from the nepotism you receive from a famous, well-connected parent. On a different but somewhat related note, Malia Obama is starting a film career as a writer. Her first short is making the festival rounds now, and in it, she is credited as Malia Ann. It's apparently because she wants to succeed on her own artistic merit and not because of her last name, which I respect a ton. But does she have to? People are going to find out. After watching the film, I saw the name in the credits. I turned to the cute girl in the audience next to me and said, "Oh, Malia Ann, nice try." Like we didn't know your name, which is bad flirting. The girl does not find it funny and very deadpan says, "Yeah, she's actually my best friend." So, me immediately. "Oh yeah, no, I was kidding. I think it's cool." I think the girl was serious, but there's also a strong possibility that she was just a verbal assassin who didn't want to talk. Munch, munch, beaver puss. Alex. Okay, look, good email, Alex. Nice, detailed, to the point. Right on the edge of too long, but just enough. Perfect email. I mean, I'm sure if I had time to think about it, I could think of plenty of people that made it this way. And listen, I understand the plight of the rich kid. I get it, especially when you're first generation rich kid. You know, like when your mama or daddy struggled to get it, and you don't have none of that urgency because you don't have the motivations they had and all of that. And it's tough to succeed on your own merit without people crediting it to your connections and all of that. I empathize with the struggle, but it's when those people act like because there's nothing wrong with nepotism in and of itself. It's when the Nepo babies try to act like they did it all. They started from the bottom. You know, they did it all with nothing and nobody's help and all of this nonsense. You know, that's really the problem. You know, if there's no way for Malia Obama to completely escape her family name. It's going to help her. It's going to help her at certain, points. I mean, the fact that she's even in the festival as somebody that's never done a thing, I'm sure that her connections, she's using those connections behind the scenes, but her wanting to be judged on her own merit. I mean, baby girl, you're part of one of the most scrutinized families on the planet. I think you're going to get equal Nepo points and negative Nepo points. I think it's going to balance itself out, probably more so. But maybe she just wants to escape from all of that. That's her prerogative. Is the movie good? I don't know. Because art's weird, especially, that's why I love stand-up, because stand-up's the only one where you can't really cheat people. Whereas with music and movies and stuff like that, there's this desperation proliferating through society where motherfuckers feel like they gotta they want to do what everyone else is doing. They want to, if something's cool or something's being said is cool, they want to be part of it. That's why like some shitty songs can just be on the radio all the time, because eventually, if the song plays at the right moment, you're going to associate that song with a good time, and eventually like they can force a pop hit. To some degree. They can force a pop hit to some degree. There's a formula to it. And to a lesser extent, movies are the same way, like short films and all of these other stuff, all that critically acclaimed. A lot of that art world shit is a scam. And it's like, if the right gatekeepers approve, everyone has to act like it's great art. So it's a tough thing. That's why I like stand-up, because you can't really, the industry can't push you. They can force feed you to people, but nobody is gonna think you're great. They're just gonna know that you're present, because as soon as they see great comedy, they know what it is. They know what they're looking at. You know what I mean? Like you could have all the accolades and all of the, all of the powers that be behind whatever the fuck you're doing. But if I put you, you could be the most decorated comedian that ever lived. But if I put you up after Shane Gillis on a lineup, what you really are is going to show. You know what I mean? Like you can't hide it. You can't hide it. You understand what I'm saying? The proof is in the pudding when it comes to stand-up. It truly is a meritocracy in that respect. In that, you can't force somebody into on the audience in that way. Anyway, yeah, that was definitely a terrible flirt as well. Yeah, I don't know what made you think this woman was going to agree with you. I don't believe that was her best friend. Why she ain't have better seats? Yeah, she probably was just didn't want to talk to you. But I'll click on your article though. Madonna's son This site can't be reached. Oh, that shit got taken down between the time you sent this email and now. That motherfucker gone. Or maybe hold on, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's the Wi-Fi in the studio. Nope, that shit gone. Okay, next email. Hey Brian, need advice. That's what I'm here for, man. How's it going, man? I'll keep it short and sweet. My fiancé left me with our son 6 months ago. I was able to keep up with the bills for a few months on my own. I ended up underwater. Okay, let me restart it because your fiancé left you with your son 6 months ago. So she left you so you have the son. Okay. I ended up underwater financially and got evicted from my apartment 3 months ago. And now sleep in my car in Southern California. It's hot out there. Okay. With the son. Because it's not clear. I mean, it looks like you're saying she left the son with you, but you said she left me with our son. So I don't, we'll see. Okay. I'm not sure how hard it would be to get into a new apartment now after being evicted. I'm going to save all my checks to work towards something. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on my situation or advice. Thanks, man. Love the show. Always looking forward to your appearances on JRE. Well, it depends. I mean, did she take this? Okay, so I'm going to assume she took the son with her. Okay. But yeah, man, my advice is to take advantage of all of the government programs you can. I mean, because there are things out there, and unfortunately, a lot of them are not apparent. A lot of them are hidden from you. But they are there. You go to your nearest. I forget what they call them in California, but it's like human services or something like that. Public service, the county building, get down there, fill out every fucking form in that motherfucker. The first thing you want to sign up for is the cash assistance. That's going to take a couple of days. But if you literally have no address, so that's the other thing. Don't try to learn, because people in your situation, and I made this mistake too, is there's a certain shame with being homeless. And so your reflex is to try to make it seem like things ain't as bad. They ain't that bad. So when these people are asking you, hey, do you have somewhere to stay? Like, don't try to lie. Don't try to lie and sugarcoat it and make it seem better than it is. You're homeless. You've been 3 months ago evicted. You don't have income. You don't have anywhere to stay. You're living in your car. You be honest about how bad it is, because that's how they determine how much to fucking help you. And trust me when I tell you, even the maximum help is not really enough. Because a lot of these programs, they assume that they're dealing with crackheads and shit like that, which I don't think should be a factor at all. But they, so just know, there's a lot of shit out there for you to get. The first thing you want to get is the cash assistance, so you can get, food and just get, keep up with all the little shit that you need. And then you probably are going to qualify for some kind of food stamps, something like that, and please, and trust me when I tell you, there's no shame in none of this. There's so many people on public assistance of some kind, and that's what it's there for, to keep you from falling through the cracks. Because the further you go to the bottom meaning, you completely fucking strung the fuck out on the street, ain't had a place to live in years, ain't had a shower in as many years, and you're just the closer you are to that, the harder it is to get out of it. So but again, there's all manner of programs. You can't sit around feeling bad for yourself. You can't sit around going, what am I going to do, when there's only one thing you can do. You got to go do it. Even if that mean nigga parking closer to the county building every day till you fucking parked outside that bitch. But you need to go in there and get all the help you can get, because I don't have the answers for you in that way. Like, I don't have a pamphlet in front of me, and the shit changes and shifts, so so often. But again, there's all manner of programs, and the more enthusiasm you have about helping yourself, the more these people will help you. And it really does boil down to that, like who you talk to when you walk in there. Because if they think you got some kind of, they think you some kind of fiend, they gonna give you the bare minimum. But if they like, oh, this is a person, that just fell on hard times, and they really trying to struggle out of it, and it's an uphill battle. It's not gonna be easy. It took me a couple years, but you can't hesitate, because everything takes longer than you think, and you don't want 6 months to go by and wish you had filled the form out 6 months ago. So that's the number one thing. Get down to the county building, look up whatever services there are for you in your area. There's certain shit from the state, it's certain shit from the county, it's certain shit from the city. Hopefully you get you a bed somewhere. And I know that the shelters aren't always the best places to be. And I think if the kid is with you, there's other services too. If there's children involved and whatnot. I don't know what your fiance was doing where her leaving just crippled you financially. I mean, but yeah, that's the only advice I can give you. It's like, yeah, you got to get down there, fill out every fucking form in the room, and start slowly getting back on your feet, building back up your credit, get you a secured credit card. It's a journey, like I said. But I believe in you, big dog. Next email from Chris. Thanks again for the continued conversation, Brown. My purpose is to simply have the conversation to begin with, as opposed to all of us just trudging along in this dystopian nightmare without any end in sight. The trade-off, hopefully, being that someone watching your podcast episodes, seeing and hearing you read my emails, has the idea that can truly initiate actual permanent change for a better tomorrow. In the words of Guy Fawkes, we are told to remember the idea, not the man, because a man can fail. He can be caught, he can be killed and forgotten, but 400 years later, an idea can change the world. World peace. Yeah, that sounds beautiful, Chris, but I think we're doomed. I hope you're right, but I don't think you are. I think that's I think we out of ideas. I was walking down the street in New York the other day, and way up the block, I could see there was a clock. It seemed to be counting down. I was like, "What is that?" And the person was with me was like, "Yeah, that's the doomsday clock that's counting down to until it's too late for us to reverse climate change," which I thought was already too late. But this clock still has like 3 or 4 more years on it. So I guess that clock was the best possible thing. We're done, because that was I think climate change, like tackling that, was probably the most important task for our generation, and we failed miserably. And so it's too late. I think it's a wrap. But again, I hope maybe some kid will discover something. Because that's our only hope. There's some discovery made that makes it easier and profitable to try to reverse climate change. And even then, even if we all decided right now, every single person on Earth all just agreed that we were going to all do everything in each of our power, it still might not be enough. So who knows? Hi, Brian. Big fan of the show. Thanks for reading my previous emails on air. This time, I'm emailing to seek advice from the advice champ. Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm emailing you from one of those Islamic conservative countries where Sharia laws are implemented. With that being said, I've been in an arranged marriage since I was 22, and now I'm 36. Wow, 14 years. Wow. Without going into too much detail, during this period of marriage, I've always had side chicks. See, wow, I thought you was a woman. Okay, so you've been in an arranged marriage for 14 years. The whole time you had side pieces. Okay. that I would screw around with without taking them seriously. 3 years ago, during the pandemic and the lockdowns, when everybody got extra lonely, I met a girl who was 9 years younger than me. Uh, and I have been with her ever since. During this time, she became my best friend and the love of my life. Days would go by, and we would spend most of them hanging around together in secrecy, given the laws of the land. On the 20th of last May, she showed up and decided to break up with me because she got a prospective husband who came through an arrangement with her family and was about to propose to her. She said that there is no obvious end to our relationship and she wants to get married at some point and have kids. I told her that I understand and I let her go. Ooh. Okay. Of course, we stayed close, and a few weeks after the breakup, we started hanging out without actually hooking up, trying to keep physical touch to a minimum to respect the boundaries of the breakup. I asked her if she had someone in her heart for real now, and she told me that the guy didn't go through with his proposal because she is a healthcare worker. He asked her to quit her job to marry him because for some reason our conservative society looks down on healthcare workers since they work with the other gender in their day-to-day work life. That's why she is not marrying the dude. However, another guy is now lined up through the same arrangement and he is due to propose soon. We still text, talk, hang out together, attend concerts, play games, and do other things without physically hooking up like we used to. She tells me how much she loves me every now and then. We kiss and hug, and that's about it. I'm her first relationship, and I'm very much in love with her at this point more than I ever was before. I still have a wife of 14 years and 3 kids whom I go home to every day. Jesus Christ. My question after this long email is, should I ask her to marry me since polygamy is legal in this country where a man can have up to 4 wives? Yeah, I thought you was in some kind of conundrum. Okay, wait a minute. What's the downside? Growing up, I saw how having multiple wives destroyed my dad, and I also see my brother who has 2 wives ruining his own life. I know for a fact that having another wife will destroy my current marriage and ruin my relationship with my children forever. Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Ah. Should I be selfish and think about my own happiness and forget about everybody else? Whew. Or should I let her go and find another man who may or may not make her as happy? Given the conservative society we live in, it's hard to establish such a connection with the other gender that I have with her now. One more thing, money isn't an issue for me, and I could support multiple households. However, given my travel background and hers, as well as me being married with kids, her family may reject me. So if I go through with proposing to her, I could mess everything up and still end up losing everyone and everything. Last week you said most people were just thinking about that they needed a dog, not whether they would be good for an animal. That resonated with me. Um, Sorry for the long email. Keep it tight, Beaverpuss. Man, see, these kind of emails, sometimes I get an email and I feel like I need some sort of expert in here commenting on shit. Cause man, I don't even know what country is. I don't want to know. But man, this is a toughie. But yeah, obviously you can't ruin your life for this woman. I'm sorry. You know, gun them because I love love and I love the idea of like you making your love, but yeah, but if it's gonna ruin your relationship with your children, at this point, I mean, but you done had side pieces this whole time. See, that's you trying to justify the wrong. I'm sorry. Like I said, love is love, and that arranged shit is wild. It really is wild. Man. And then if you ask, the family could say no. And it's gonna fuck your marriage up anyway. No fucking way, dude. That's not worth it. I mean, maybe if it was a guarantee that you could marry her, maybe. But knowing that it's just that it's just a chance, and you're gonna ruin your marriage, and you're gonna ruin your family anyway. Nah, man. Somebody told me a while back, a long time ago, that a smart man learned from his mistakes, and a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. So you already saw this fuck your father up. You already see this fucking your brother up. So why are you trying to dive into this situation? And truth be told, man, you might really love this girl, but the truth is, it might just be because she's in contrast to what's at home. At home, everything's buttoned down and arranged and just so, and she's everything that's not that. Marrying her might ruin it. You might be I don't know what y'all got going over there, but you might just have one of those, like the fact that it's wrong and it's secret. So that might be what make it hot, The fact that y'all are able to not fuck each other still is kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't. I mean, your best bet is to, run it by your. But I don't know if you got them kind of relationship with your brother and your father. Well, I would just ask them, like, why did it go wrong? But maybe neither of them is even in a position to admit that it was a mistake. But is there a way for you to possibly avoid whatever made having two wives not work for them? Because I'm sure it worked for some people. I mean, I think it really mostly boils down to wife number one and her proclivities and her hangups and those sorts of things. But no, it's not worth ruining your life. I don't talk about it enough now. It's not worth ruining it. No, not at all. Not at all. And I'm sure this woman doesn't give a fuck whether your life gets ruined or not. You know what I mean? If you said you ain't worried about money, you good on the bread, and I'm sure that's what she hinting at. Like, yo, you want this pussy? Fucking lock it up, nigga. Fuck your kids that you got already. We gonna have kids, I don't know. Maybe I'm putting words in her mouth. But absolutely not. Your best bet, keep her a side piece. I don't understand this, like, honorable, like she was my side piece for a minute. We was fucking and everything. And then we broke up because she was engaged. And so now we just hanging out, but we ain't fucking. Like, I don't understand what the honorable side of why. She's already been a side piece, and now she got betrothed. Why we can't keep getting it in? I don't understand that. Anyway, absolutely not. Do not ruin your life for this woman. And if just thinking about it further, she's not willing to ruin her life for you. You know what I mean? What would she be giving up by being your second wife? In terms of, like, her fucking her relationship with her family up. She ain't gonna do all that. You know what I mean? You have to get her about the country or something like that. So I don't see the upside of this. That's it. That's it for emails. But yeah, it's depressing, to just walk away from love. But yeah, nigga, no. I'm gonna get that a big fat thumbs down. All right, one article before we get the fuck out of here. Where is it? Where's my damn? Okay, this is in the New York Times. Teenager accused of derailing train and posting crash video online. Y'all kids are gone. Y'all are lost. You derailing a train, my guy? For clout? How many times, like, what I don't understand what is so difficult. Like, what? I don't understand why people are so desperate for clout that they will commit a crime and post about it. What's wrong with the children? Where you're posting about crimes. Crimes. You derailed maybe there's more to the story. Because we can't just make judgments off the headline alone, right? Let's see. A 17-year-old in Nebraska has been accused of intentionally derailing a train, recording the crash, and then posting the footage online, according to court documents. The teenager, who's described by investigators as a train enthusiast or rail fan, faces 2 felony counts of criminal mischief for intentionally damaging or tampering with property, according to documents filed last week in the District Court of Lancaster County, Nebraska. The BNSF railway train was carrying coal and traveling east when it derailed around 6:10 p.m. on April 21st at a crossing in Bennett, Nebraska, which is about 17 miles southeast of Lincoln, according to a search warrant affidavit filed this month. The derailment, which happened after the train drove through a misaligned switch at a railroad crossing, caused about $200,000 in damages to BNSF locomotives and property, and at least $150,000 in damages to Omaha Public Power District property, the affidavit said. The teenager approached an investigator at the crash scene and asked what had happened, according to the affidavit. The investigator said the cause of the derailment had not been identified, to which the teenager replied, "Obviously, a switch was flipped the wrong way." The investigator also asked the teenager about railroad switches, and the teenager was able to describe how they work. The teenager's lawyer declined to comment. Wow, what a dumbass. BNSF confirmed an arrest had been made, but declined to comment because of the ongoing investigation. The affidavit, which sought access to the teenager's cell phone and other recording devices, said that a video of the derailment was posted on YouTube 2 days after the crash on an account that investigators believed to be associated with the teenager. A video with the same name as the one identified in the affidavit, loaded BNSF Arbor collides and derails in Bennett, Nebraska, is on YouTube under a different account name than the one named in the affidavit. The 5-minute video begins with dramatic music and shows a train approaching while the horn sounds before the screen fades to black. The video shows the train before, during, and after the derailment, while an unnamed narrator describes what happened. Okay, so nobody died, but still, how do you let that slide? This nigga walking around. First of all, also, how is it that easy? Is that easy to derail a train? If you just know how the switches work, you can derail a train. It feels like maybe, on top, this kid should definitely get put under the jail, but because he didn't know what kind of train was coming. He didn't know if it was people on that motherfucker. You know what I mean? I don't know what you call that because nobody died. And you can't really call it attempted murder either, but definitely like, reckless endangerment or some shit. But they need to throw the book at this little motherfucker. But also, did somebody else fuck up? Because how was he able to do this is what I don't get. Don't you gotta have special keys or some kind of special access or I feel like as the days go by, you realize this is why all those all those government people are so stressed out. Like you see, like the director of the CIA and Homeland Security, whenever you get a glimpse of these people, they so stressed out because the more you know, the more you realize how actually not safe we are. You know what I mean? I got a little glimpse of this when I worked at the Pentagon for a little while. I was in the military for a little while. And you realize that a lot of it is myth. We are really good at fucking shit up. We're the best ever. We're the best group of humans ever at destroying shit. There's no doubt about it. The U.S. military and government, if the object is to fuck something up, we are in there, bro. Nobody on the planet can even come close to seeing us when it comes to destruction. But a lot of that other shit is all myth and magic. It's all like our reputation is what protects us. A lot of that shit, like when you realize how easy it is to derail a train, how much we don't take care of the bridges. Like think about it. Every day something happens to make you go, oh shit. Like a update, fucked up airlines and hospitals all around the world, just a faulty upgrade. Like think about so it was that easy. Remember it happened last year around Christmas, right? Some software thing fucked up all flights for half a day during the busiest time of the year. You know what I mean? And it's like, it just goes to show you just how fragile society actually is. And most people walk around completely unaware of how much they're just teetering on the brink of everything falling apart. And then and this the kind of shit that bothers me, because it's like, it shouldn't be that easy. It shouldn't be, whatever the fuck this kid did, it shouldn't be that easy. A 17-year-old kid shouldn't be able to to derail a train with no explosives or nothing, just from flipping a switch. Why does he have access to that switch? They charge him as a juvenile. The teenager, who identified himself as a person who regularly records trains, showed the investigator videos he had recorded on his cell phone of the derailment and other trains. A few days later, investigators reviewed security footage from the area and saw a person walking toward the railroad switch and out of view of the camera, according to the affidavit. I don't get why he's being charged as a juvenile. He literally derailed the train on purpose and recorded it. You know what I mean? What do you mean tried him as a juvenile? He could have fucking killed so many people. Whatever. You know, he could have released some kind of chemical cloud, nigga. Like, what are we doing? We can't let this slide. And should it ruin his whole? I don't know, but that's like super villain type things. You know what I mean? This ain't a kid that like mischief, stole a car, joyride. This nigga derailed a train and being tried as a juvenile. I don't know. At 17? I don't know, kid. And now look what you've done. Look at the stigma you've put on all the autistic children. You know, loving trains used to make, when somebody found out you love trains, they used to be happy. Oh, he's autistic. He's a sweet boy. Now people like, huh? Loving trains. Maybe you by yourself ain't gonna ruin it, but if it's one more, you know, because I'm sure this nigga's in some subreddit or something of other fucking losers that wanted to see a train derailed. I don't know. Or maybe he can prove that he knew there was no one on the train other than the conductor or whatever. Like he knows the trains that well, where he knew which train. I don't know. But let's not have have us flip and turn on autistic kids like we did to Muslims on 9/11. You know, where it's like, oh, because it was one. I don't think this kid is even autistic. He just clout chasing. He out here culturally appropriating. You know, and wanting to see trains crash. I mean, I guess that is part of loving trains. It's literally the first thing you do when you get to, you smash. Anyway, that's been our episode, guys. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, you want advice from the advice channel, email me at BSwithBrianSimpson at gmail.com. That's BSwithBrianSimpson at gmail.com. Click on my link tree to go come see me on tour, and keep it tight, people, plus.